Alright, so someone asked me to explain how the Overlord system works and basically my opinion on what to use and why I'm using it. So I just loaded up a new freelancer campaign and I'll go through it. So first thing I do is pick a mission. As it's a brand new one, I want to choose either 1, 2 or 3 skull missions because they're relatively low payout but give you decent ability to fight back when without getting destroyed too quickly. We'll start with an ambush. Okay, so that will generally have a convoy that is traversing the map and you have to go on and destroy it. It has the most enemy variety in it. You're not just facing enemy mech, you're facing tanks and aircraft as well. So we'll go with that one. Now that we've selected that, we'll head down to the hangar. And load out our first mech. We have a choice of 2. I prefer the Geraldine here, also known as the Blackbird. And let's have a look, because you start with very little in the way of weapons and things. We'll go to the market and see what we've got available to us. So, first thing I like to look for is any type of radar. Ground penetrating is my particular preference here because it lets you see through the ground as well. You'll pick up most targets before they can see you, or beyond visual range. The next thing is we've got 250 autocannons. They're my usual staple thing. Homing missile, I'll go with that, and anti-armor rifles. I use them less, but they're better at long range because they've got a high velocity. Another good one is the interceptor beam, if you can find one. There isn't one here. The rocket pod's fun, that's less accurate. Apart from that, yeah. So bought the radar, and now we'll set it up. So I like to have the autocannons on the shoulders. Put our long-range weapon on the first arm, our 50 cal on the shoulders, just for ease of aiming. Put our homing missile on the other arm. And then in the center we've got the ground penetrating radar. Slightly over tonnage here, so I'll remove the second autocannon just purely because there's a bug currently with weapon groupings that cause the mech to overheat faster than it should. And you can choose your Como paint here. I don't think it actually makes a difference, but I like the look of the urban one, so we'll go with that. Now we're all set up. There's me. You can have up to 3 other teammates. They're all AI driven, but you need to buy the mechs for them, obviously. And then we can launch. Or you can walk up and inspect your mech if you want. Looks really cool up close. But we'll launch. Alright, so now that we're in the mission, the first thing we need to do is start up, obviously. Turn on the battery.
Reactor online.
That'll power up the reactor. Then we need to power up the APU. That'll power everything else up, which requires flicking this switch here and then hitting the ignition when it's in that green section there. That'll start the engine, as it were. Next we need to start starting up all the other systems. So we've got the locomotion, that's the move backwards and forwards. the torso actuator. That's left, right, up, down. The torso lock will stop the torso from rotating and traversing, which is good if you just want to turn the mech without having to turn the torso. It makes it easy to aim sometimes at long distances. We've got all our MFDs here. We'll turn all those on. Each MFD will usually start on a different screen, except in the Blackbird. This one and this one will start in the objectives mode. I usually just change this one up here to analyze. So the analyze is to look at enemy targets. It'll tell you how damaged they are. This one here is the weapon MFD. It'll show you what the gun is pointing at and help you make long range arm shots. And you've got the weapon system here. That'll show you what weapons you've got, how much ammo they've got in each section, and what one's currently selected. Got the objectives here, which tells us to intercept and destroy the convoy, and it'll say something out of this one says 8, so there's 8 targets I need to destroy. Up here we've got the radar, then we've got the reactor status that tells us how hot our current different sections are. You got locomotion, you got the torso, and then you've got the weapons. They're each independent of each other. Down here is the fall risk, so if your legs and locomotor get damaged, then the chances of falling over increase, and the slope you're currently walking on. So anything over 30 degrees, I believe it is, increases the chances that your mech will fall over. Finally, you've got the statuses of all the different sections. So you've got sensors, the client, the gimbals, the motors, the gyros. So as these break, the chances of falling over increase, and how fast you can move and how much heat they produce increases. Lastly, up here you've got your own mech damage thing, so it points to all the different sections of the mech that can be damaged individually, and it shows you what damage they're currently at. We just started, so everything's in green. So once we've got the MFD started up, we need to open the canopy. That raises the blast shield, which doesn't actually do anything but obscure your view. And we turn on the comms, which will activate both the radar and the analyzations of the various things, and allow you, if you've got squad mates, to direct them by using the phone. I almost never interact with that myself. Finally, we have to turn on the HUD, which brings up the stuff up there, the rangefinder, which will help me see how far away things are, and the compass, which will allow me to see what orientation I am currently in. Our weapons, so as we can see over here, we've got our anti-alpha rifle with 35 bullets in it, guide missiles with 5, and the 50mm cannon with 80. The one that's currently got the box on it is what is currently selected, and that's what this weapon will be. You can change the weapon by holding the right hand stick and pushing the B button, and as you can see, it changes the reticle up there and also what that is. Slightly changes depending on which one is currently selected. I normally assign groups because I have usually 250 mils, but that's how this works up here. It messes with a couple of things currently, but Nigel's working on that. But you can set your groups by turning on this, selecting the weapon group you want it to be, and then assigning the weapon. Then I can move to the next one, change the group, and assign a new one, and then say I wanted both the 50 cal and the 24 in the same group. I could assign that one as well. So they would be in group 1, and my missiles would be in group 2. And then to change weapons, you just push the button there, and they'll automatically fire those weapons in the group. Well, we're not going to be using that, so we have headlock targeting here, so that means that wherever I look, that's where the gun will shoot. We have auto track here, so if I have a target locked on, it will automatically target that, which is good for long range of or medium range engagements where the enemy is obscured by trees or smoke or rain or whatever, but it'll only target the thing that you have a lock on. You got the thermals here, which obviously no good during the day, and you can swap this here to show you on the screen up here a camera view of the bullet or projectile as it's traveling through. I find it obscures my vision too much, so I don't use that one either. And you've got the missile guidance mode, so you've got direct, which means it'll just go straight at whatever you shoot at. And you've got airdrop, which is my preferred one. That makes the missile fire up, travel over to where the target is, and then drop down on top of it. I like that one because you can fire out of line of sight and hit what you're doing. But the direct fire mode will generally do more damage because you're going to be hitting the cockpit or whatever. And finally, you've got the ground hug mode. So that will fire and travel just above the ground, and then like theoretically move over mountains and stuff, but it's more prone to hitting trees and or not hitting or hitting the ground more. That's why I use the airdrop one. It just gives me more versatility. It is, however, easy to shoot down with an interceptor beam. This here shows you the orientation of the torso, or the legs in relation to the torso. So I'm turning the cockpit left, and the legs are pointing this way. This here is another indicator of the same thing. This is showing me how far out of alignment the torso is. The same thing is visible here, and this HUD element here is showing you how far off of center the torso is. So now that we've worked all that out, this here being the throttle, we move that up to full, and that allows you to actually move forwards and backwards, which is controlled by the left hand stick here, and that also is turning the legs. Basically, this is the leg stick, and this one's the torso stick. So moving the right hand one will allow you to change the orientation of the torso. And then using the stick on your controller, you can move the targeting thing manually. That's good for leading the shot on long range things. You'll notice on the MFD here you've got range for different things. So when the target here will tell you how far it is, and that's showing you how far the bullet will drop. Alright, so now that we're ready to move, I generally turn the cruise control on myself. That just means that the mech will continue moving at the same speed it is, and then I can control the speed via the throttle over here. It just makes it easier to run and gun, as it were. I'll look up on the map here and zoom out to see where my target is. It's 4 Ks that way. And theoretically wide open space, so we'll just travel at full speed. until we get within a K of our target. Looks like it's on the other side of this mountain over here. So rather than facing the convoy head on, I'm going to try and hit it from the flank. That way I'm not exposed to enemy fire directly. You never want to be travelling directly at your target, you want to be hitting it from a tangent. We'll switch over to the missiles. Which are better at long range. Right, locomotive's overheating, so we'll just cool the throttle down so it shows green. And we can see our heat staying, slowly cooling down or staying the same. Now, I need to keep an eye on where I'm going, sort of. I just want to make sure, though, that I'm not walking into obstacles, but I always want to be looking directly at my target. So if we switch to manual targeting, because it's long range, and see what we can see. Let's zoom in as far as we can go. There we go. Blackbird there. Truck. 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 What looks like 4 trucks. So they're of no danger to us. Blackbird's seen us, so let's fire back. We lock on and fire our missiles. We seem to be well out of range of him though. So I'll just start moving so that I'm not presenting the easiest target to hit. And we'll go for auto track because we're at such a long range. It's just easier to keep that lock on him. Alright, now our missiles are empty. We'll swap over to our medium range engagement. And we're getting to close range, so I'm going to turn on headlock and take off the auto track. I'm also going to slow down to stop me from overheating too much. And we'll swap over to our 50 mils. I need to lead the target slightly. Let's slow down a bit more to stop the torso wobble from annoying me too much. He's stopped moving, so I'm going to switch to auto track. Auto track has trouble hitting moving targets though. There's a tank over here by the looks of it. What's that? Something else over there. Taking a pot shot at me. It's damaging my leg. range, so we just shut down. I got that one. Let's see, what's that over there? Truck. What's hitting me? Truck. Tank, there we go. It's at medium range, so I'll probably swap to that. And it doesn't move very fast, so swap on auto targeting and see what we can see. Got that one. Looks like I got that one before. So these trucks are all just sitting ducks now. I think one of them managed to escape before. I'll try and hunt him down in a second. Alright, so the locomotive's overheating and I need to catch someone, so I'm going to flush the coolant, which will instantly cool me down. And let's go hunt down this last truck. See, now I've taken a bunch of damage. Turning and moving is taking much longer. There should be 2 more trucks somewhere. Just look like they're in front of us on the map. Overheating, so we'll keep flushing the coolant so that we can keep going without having to slow down. So we can see here my legs are heavily damaged. The lower section of my legs are just medium damaged. My locomotive's got medium damage. Everything else is pretty alright. But once I crest over this hill, I should be able to get a good line of sight of the target I'm trying to kill. As we can see here at the motor, I'm running at roughly 1/3 efficiency. That's why I'm moving so slow. I suppose I could slow this down a bit, speed this up a bit by just cranking the throttle down and getting a resupply. And get some more missiles, and I'll be able to shoot him from longer range. We just wait for the resupply helicopter to come in. And here it is. And locate package. Or did it crash? Alright, well that was unsuccessful. I'll have to tell Nige about that one. No, let's just continue. I'll just see if we can get visual on the truck. And try and hit it from this distance. So when you're taking long range shots, you don't want to be moving the torso around too much.
Locomotive online. Locomotive online. Locomotive online. Locomotive online. Locomotive online.
Alright, well they managed to make it to the thing before I got there. I shouldn't have stopped for that, but oh well. Got most of the targets. But let me just hit continue here. And then on this map here, it'll show you the path you took plus all the targets that were on the map took. As you can see, I moved towards the enemy where they theoretically were. No, sorry, this is the enemy movement. I'm here while I'm explaining everything that started up. This here will also show us how much I got and how much I made. So, I was charged 690, but I made 500 plus the 600 that the mission was paying out. So after all the expenses, the resupply that didn't come, the ammo that I cost, and the coolant that I used, the difference was 1,224. So now we can see I've started moving finally. This dotted line here would be the enemy Blackbird that I engaged, and you can see it started shooting at me as soon as I crested the hill there. And the enemy tanks started shooting at me as well. And where I was circle strafing around the Blackbird trying to destroy it. That must be that truck that I didn't manage to eliminate. Then after I finished destroying all the enemies, I made pursuit of where it was. And that must be where I stopped for the resupply. And that would be the end of the mission, where it managed to escape. Anyway, I hope you learned something from this explainer. It's my opinions on things, on what you should do under certain circumstances, but that is all I've got, and thank you for watching.